And joining me now is Democratic House Intelligence Chair Adam Schiff, one of the two chairmen, along with Jerry Nadler, whose committee subpoenaed Robert Mueller to appear. You join me now from Capitol Hill. First of all, is he appearing voluntarily, willingly? Because he certainly set the terms during his 8-minute appearance back on the 29th of May, saying that he did not want to testify, did not want to appear.
Well, I wouldn't characterize it as a friendly subpoena. I don't think that's how the special counsel views it. Nonetheless, they are going to comply with it, but he certainly, I think, is not eager to come before the Congress. From his perspective, and, their staff has shared this with us, he views himself as a prosecutor, and prosecutors usually don't testify about the results of their investigation. They go to trial. But as Mueller himself pointed out in his own report, he did not make a traditional prosecutorial judgment. Instead, referred the matter to Congress, and it's perfectly appropriate for Congress to bring him in to talk about the course of his investigation, the witnesses he interviewed, those he didn't interview, those that wouldn't speak to him, the processes he used, the counterintelligence information that was gathered, what happened to those findings, and most important, any outstanding risk to the country, any compromise that was revealed that the Congress needs to deal with.
Congressman, is he going to go beyond the four corners of his report?
Well, that is certainly what we're going to ask of him. We're going to be asking questions, yes, that go to what's in the report, but we're going to be asking questions that are outside the report. The Attorney General has made it clear that he feels completely free to discuss matters not in the report. In fact, the Attorney General felt free to mischaracterize the report. And there's no law or prescription against Bob Mueller talking about other avenues of the investigation that they pursued or didn't pursue or where it led. So we're going to have a lot of questions. We're going to ask him to answer, and we're going to expect to get answers.
Are you confident that the Attorney General will not try to assert any kind of privilege or restrictions on him as a former employee of the Justice Department, the way the White House has imposed restrictions on Don McGahn, Hope Hicks, and others through their form of executive privilege?
I have to expect that Bill Barr will continue to do what Bill Barr has done since he was appointed, and that is run interference for the president in any way that he can. And that may mean interposing objections to what Bob Mueller can say. It may mean releasing some information of his own, that is Bill Barr's, in an effort to distract from the hearing. I think we can expect Bill Barr to act as if Rudy Giuliani was appointed AG, because that's how he's behaved. So I really can't cabin what kind of conduct we can expect from him.
Have you worked out with the ranking Republican on your committee, at least, the division of time and whether staff can join in, majority and minority staff, as well as the members? Frankly, in this kind of high-profile testimony, some of your colleagues are less adept than others at questioning. We saw on the Judiciary Committee in particular, the bringing in of the Kentucky Fried Chicken on that hearing. There have been other things that have been not distinguishing, shall we say, of members of Congress.
Well, and that's certainly true, although there are other times where members have acquitted themselves very well. And you can look at, for example, Katie Porter's questioning of some of the witnesses in her committee. But look, we're going to sit down as a committee and decide how we want to best structure, makes most productive use of Bob Mueller's time. We will have enough time allotted to our committee that each of the members will be able to ask their questions if we go with the traditional format. When we interview fact witnesses, we have often done those where we will have an hour and then the minority will have an hour, and that allows for sustained questioning. This is a little different circumstance. We don't generally use that format with a witness like Bob Mueller, but we will discuss that internally and make those decisions.
And who goes first, Intelligence or Judiciary?
My expectation is that he will appear before the Judiciary Committee and then shortly thereafter before our committee. And then we will have closed session with the staff. Both committees will have an opportunity to meet with the staff in closed session.
Have you finally, by the way, gotten some of the, not only the redacted report, but have you gotten information about the parallel counterintelligence investigation? This could not be more timely, with the president again meeting with Vladimir Putin this week. And who knows whether it'll be with a note taker, with or out a note taker. whether there will ever be a public explanation of what he does or does not say to Vladimir Putin about election interference.
I've had the opportunity now to review the much less redacted portions of the report, that is everything but the grand jury material. And frankly, we availed ourselves of that opportunity because of the concern that Bill Barr might make some of those cases that Mueller referred to other elements of the Department of Justice try to go away. After all, Bill Barr said that he viewed the president as having the authority to make any case go away if he thought it was unfair. Now that effectively puts the president above the law, or means the president is the law, which is not what our Constitution has to say, but nonetheless a risk with this Attorney General. So I have reviewed the less redacted version of the report, and we are starting to get information about the counterintelligence investigation that was conducted, that preceded the criminal case and was conducted simultaneously. But there are still a great many unanswered questions. We've only really begun to get information from the FBI and the Justice Department on that score.
And finally, since waiting for Mueller has been the name of the game, does this postpone any action and lessen the pressure on the Speaker for an impeachment inquiry to be formally open until after his testimony, which basically puts it into August, and you're soon into the fall, and it almost makes it a moot point going into this election year?
I'm not sure what it does in terms of the timing of any decision about opening an impeachment inquiry. I will say this. I think people should have, rational expectations about what's going to come out of the hearing. I expect that we have seen in very broad strokes from Mueller's report what he is going to focus his testimony on. So I want to, have reasonable expectations about what's going to come out of this. But it's enormously important, I think, for the public to hear from the man who did this investigation, to bring these facts to life, to understand just what it means when the President of the United States is trying to obstruct the justice of the United States, the justice system, as well as just how compromising it is when the president, for example, is pursuing his financial interests in Russia while misleading the American people about it. So these facts need to be brought forward to the public, and that is the primary purpose of bringing him in.